With the 7th and 8th parts of JoJo taking place in an alternate universe commonly known as the Steel Ball Run universe, which for the most part is completely different from the original universe we knew and loved from parts 1 through 6. But there are still characters and locations from the Steel Ball Run universe that are that universe's version of the originals, and I just realized that I'm going to be saying universe a lot in this video. So just think of the original universe and now the alternate universe that we're in terms of a parallel universe concept, where there are an infinite number of universes that are all different, even if it's just the slightest differences. For example, there could be a parallel universe where everything was exactly the same, just for one day you decided to wear a red shirt instead of a blue shirt, and just an infinite number of different variations. So thinking about the Steel Ball Run universe and the original universe in that way, it makes sense for variations of characters to exist even if they are completely different, like Johnny and Diego being alternate universe Jonathan and Dio. There are plenty of more examples of alternate universe equivalents, considering the series has been taking place in the alternate universe for more than 12 years of serialization now. But the alternate universe equivalent I want to discuss today isn't just a character, but rather an entire event. With the recent conclusion of JoJolion's latest arc, Blue Hawaii, it was hard not to see the arc's striking similarities to the Highway Star arc from the 4th part of JoJo. And JoJolion itself is considered the alternate universe equivalent to part 4, considering they both take place in Morio, both have a mystery theme, and of course part 8 has so many alternate universe equivalents in its form of characters and locations from part 4 scattered throughout it, and it's not even finished yet. Location-wise is the obvious city of Morio, which is about identical to the original universe Morio, and we see things like the Osen shop still existing in part 8, showing us that although the characters are quite different, the world itself is still pretty much the same. And the sheer amount of alternate universe character equivalents in part 8 is abundant, with Kira and Kira, Josefume and Josuke, Yasuo and Koichi, Holly and Holly, Erina and Rina, and plenty of more. So JoJolion having so many similarities to part 4, it's interesting to now see alternate universe equivalents of events taking place. The basic structure of these two arcs, Blue Hawaii and Highway Star, are pretty much the exact same. An automatic stand is chasing our main JoJo, and it's a race to find the user while running from the stand. The two stands themselves have completely different abilities, and just knowing what they are without reading the arcs themselves, you really wouldn't think that their fights would unfold in a similar way at all. Highway Star is able to run extremely fast at about 40 miles per hour, among a lot of other things, while Blue Hawaii is a possession type stand that is passed between targets by its blood. So how did these two stands end up having such a similar arc? Well, although the stand's abilities are different, they are still the same type of stand. Automatic. So this allowed each user to be at a specific location for the entirety of the arc and give their opponents, being Josuke and Josuke, a goal to reach. For the majority of the arc, our protagonists would spend most of their time running away from the stand, learning how the stand's ability worked in order to exploit the stand's weaknesses, and gathering information about the stand user or their location. And if we think of JoJolion in relation to the other parts of JoJo, it seems a little bit past the halfway point, which would put the Blue Hawaii arc at roughly about the same point in the story as the Highway Star arc, drawing more similarities between them. If we split each arc up into 3 acts, the introduction, the struggle or the stand battle, and then the resolution or conclusion. Of course, the arc's introductions are very similar but not unique to just them, as plenty of arcs consist of minor villains attacking our protagonist while working for a greater or more important villain or character. Yuya Fungami attacking Rohan and Josuke for the sake of Yoshihiro, and Dolomiti trying to stop Josuke because Jobin reached out to him for his help. But when it comes to the stand battle itself, or the struggle to get to the resolution, is where the arcs are most similar. After running away from the stand user for a good amount of time, each Josuke reaches out to a friend for help, contacting a Hirose to help them find the stand user. I would like to believe Araki was clearly trying to make parallels between these arcs with the overall structure, as well as some of the minor details like Gappy stealing a bicycle to escape from Blue Hawaii in reference to Josuke's motorcycle ride from the original Highway Star arc. Or maybe it was just a giant coincidence coincidence because, I mean, he is the same person, and it's been a very long time since he wrote part 4, and since part 8 is so similar, maybe it just happened. Because Araki is still the same person, and history does repeat itself. But I'm almost positive that the similarities between these arcs were intentional. So after each Josuke reaches out to their respective Hirose, each arc then takes their own unique path, with different roadblocks for each group, stopping them from reaching the user. But eventually, Josuke and Koichi end up getting enough information on Yuya, the stand user, to locate him, and were able to confront him just in time, when Gappy and Yasuo, on the other hand, pretty much failed. Well, luckily Jobin's attack on Yasuo was pretty pathetic, so she was able to quickly recover and use her stand to track the infected Josuke, who had failed against the Blue Hawaii stand ability, and because of Yasuo, she was able to save Josuke right before being drowned by Dolomiti, and thus finding the stand user as Dolomiti brought Josuke back to him. So although after each Josuke reached out to their respective Hirose, they did take a different turn, but the resolution still ended up being the same, as both groups did end up confronting the stand user at the location that they originally were at. Although, of course, the process of getting to the stand user was very different. Just some more scattered thoughts I have on these arcs' parallels are the fact that each stand user, Yuya and Dolomiti, were both in bad health and at the point where they weren't able to move from their location. Dolomiti having his body taken away from him by the Rokakaka's equivalent exchange ability, and Yuya being hospitalized by a motorcycle accident. And also each stand's relentless nature of constantly following in one specific line, and both being limited in some way, of Yuya using scent and Blue Hawaii only being able to move in a straight line, and not having full control over the people it's possessing. Although that's how the stand seemed to work in the beginning of the arc, but then near the end, Dolomiti seemed to have full control over Josuke, even controlling his brain, making him be able to say things. So I don't know, what's the deal with Blue Hawaii? Also, this doesn't really have any significance, but it's still a cool reference. If you notice the specific detail of Yuya's character design on his tie, or scarf, whatever it is, he has the words Speed Cane, which is a reference to the song by the band Deep Purple, and Highway Star is of course also a song by Deep Purple. So maybe Araki just couldn't decide on what song he wanted to use for the stand, so he just threw Speed Cane on his design, as Speed Cane would work well for the stand's nature just as well as Highway Star would. But Speed Cane of course relates somewhat to part 8, with Jobin Higashikata's stand being Speed Cane, which is absolutely nothing like Highway Star, but it's still a character involved in the Blue Hawaii arc that just draws somewhat of a parallel all the way back to part 4's Highway Star arc. So we've seen alternate universe equivalents of characters, stands, and locations, and now we're seeing entire events play out in the form that they once did, drawing so many similarities between these two universes, but yet being still so different, and I love it. It's almost like Araki making the decision to have JoJo switch to a new universe is giving him the opportunity to rewrite the past and do things differently than he once did. I just can't wait to see more alternate universe equivalents, because I know they're coming, and I would love to see arcs like this play out in the same structure as previous arcs, so we sort of know what the parallel is, but yet still be different, like Blue Hawaii and Highway Star. And if this trend keeps up, maybe it'll give us some sort of a structure to later arcs in JoJolion. But I'm sure this was a very specific instance, and maybe just a one-time thing. So I hope none of you think that just because these arcs were similar, the ending of JoJolion will be something like Bites the Dust, because I can almost guarantee you that will not be the case. I think Araki just wanted to revisit his past. Maybe it was just a coincidence, or just the stars aligned and he realized he had the perfect opportunity to make these arcs very similar and make the entire arcs themselves be alternate universe equivalents to each other, and that's just such a damn cool concept. As most of you know, the alternate universe parts of JoJo 7 and 8 are my favorite of JoJo, and I have never enjoyed the series as much as I have in these two parts. So I really love talking about these parts, and people have asked me to do a ton of comparisons to other alternate universe equivalents, and maybe I could turn this into a series called something like Alternate Universe Comparison, because I always have people saying, hey, can you talk about Kira from the original universe and Kira from alternate universe, and Josuke and Josefume, Carrera and Yukako, and there's so many equivalents, like looking at Johnny's character and Jonathan's character and just, you know, seeing the similarities but yet the differences between the two. And if you guys would enjoy something like that, I would more than happily make those alternate universe comparison videos. So just let me know, maybe if I see what's upvoted the most and what comparisons you guys want to see drawn most to, and maybe I'll do a video on it. But as for this video, Highway Star and Blue Hawaii art comparison Araki revisiting his past, and we're seeing entire events starting to play out and being alternate universe equivalents to each other. And this was just so unique and something that we really haven't seen so obvious before, and I just loved every minute of it. So that was today's video. Drop a like if I fought your boredom or if you just enjoyed, and of course leave any more recommendations on alternate universe comparisons you would like to see me talk about. Of course, subscribe for more videos. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.
お楽しみはこれからだ。時は動き出す。